Hello and welcome one and all to the AOR Pro Mazda Championship in iRacing for the first race of the inaugural season at Laguna Seca for 40 laps of this 11-corner circuit in Central California. I'm Justin, and joining me today is Andre.
Yes, hello everybody. Yep, you may know me as Harrison101 on YouTube, but I'm very glad to be part of this series, and hopefully we're going to look forward to a very exciting race today.
Yeah, it's a brand new league for AOR, a whole new experience for the members of this well-established community. There are some very quick people, but one to keep an eye on today is Eunice Nukarainen, who holds a pro license in iRacing. Now it's time to see what happened in the 20-minute qualifying session, starting with a side-by-side qualifying comparison.
Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca is probably the best place for the Apex Online Racing Pro Mazda Championship to begin because, well, it's in the name, isn't it? On board with Eunice Nukarainen and Kerry Nolden in the qualifying comparison as they take us around the circuit. As the two drivers approach the Andretti hairpin, notice the different lines the two take, as Nukarainen takes a wider entry to achieve a tighter exit out the corner. Both drivers for this section use as much curbing as possible, lifting off only for a moment to ensure they don't take to the gravel and cancel out their times, while maintaining their speed to achieve a quick sector time. This next part is simply driving up to turn 5, but Nolden uses more of the curbing, and while both use all the inside curbing coming out of turn 5, Nukarainen clips the sausage curb, staying in a higher gear and losing speed as we approach the kink under the Rahal Straight, uphill towards one of the most famous corners in the world, the corkscrew. At this point, Nolden has a clear advantage as we head into the corkscrew, already having at least a 2/10 advantage over Nukarainen, lifting off and getting onto the power as quickly as possible as advised here, as we head into Rainy Curve, where you have to keep to the inside as much as possible. For turn 10, both drivers lift off to glide their Mazdas through the corner, and while Nukarainen uses the curbing as we approach the final corner, Nolden avoids it, with Nukarainen once again clipping the sausage curb. Now the drivers can simply relax towards the finish line, with Nolden taking pole by 0.3 of a second. Back to Dre and Justin in the studio for the qualifying results.
Thank you, Crekkan, for that side-by-side commentary. So as we've seen, Kerry Nolden took pole position over pro license holder Eunice Nukarainen after putting in a 1:16.661, almost 0.3 faster than Nukarainen's 1:16.948. Starting in third and only 0.04 off Nukarainen is Jordan Hawson, alongside Patrick White in fourth. Row 4 features Domenico Demeno in 5th and Nolden's teammate Knut Martinsen in 6th. Row 4 has Michael Mittner starting in 7th ahead of Phil Reed, while Timu Valkajärvi and Peter Newman round out the top 10 in 9th and 10th respectively. Starting in 11th is Gino Vanderbroek as the last of the qualifiers in the 117s, followed by Christoph Leister, who edged out Kirill Merkulits for 12th by 0.5. Craig Baxter starts in 14th with very little separating him from George Wiseman, Harley Lewis, and Neil Lukens in 15th, 16th, and 17th respectively. Cam Stark starts in 18th with Glenn Bowen and Robert Plumley sneaking into the top 20. Bringing up the rear of the field are Dan Lawrence, Alexander Van Rompuy, Daniel Evans, Vittorio Saltalamacchia, and Chris Frazier. That's how the drivers line up, and now we head to the grid for the first ever race of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship from Laguna Seca. It's race time here at Laguna Seca with Kerry Nolden on pole position alongside Nukarainen. The lights are about to go green, the engines are revving, and the drivers are getting ready to drop their clutches. Should be a pretty exciting start to this race. And they're away. Yep, here they go, and it looks like there's been a little bit of, got some cars going 3 wide through turn 1, the very slight turn 1 heading into the turn 2 hairpin. It looks like Kerry has hung on to the lead, and it looks like Nukarainen is coming under attack a little bit from third place starter, but unfortunately, fortunately for him, he is able to hold him off, hang on to that position. Oh no, and there's been a car in the background there that's gone off and into the barrier. We got another car.
Upside down.
Upside down. Is that, I believe that's Cam Stark. It is. It's currently Cam Stark, and he has definitely got some damage to his car. Not the way for him to start his race, and there's even more carnage a bit further up at the front. That's at turn 6, just before going up the hill, or I'm sorry, turn 5. And holy cow, that is a pretty interesting start to this league.
Yeah, contact, and it's like, oh, we got another man in the wall. One of the Williams Martini drivers there now into the wall. I think that might have been Saltamakia there, I think, in the barrier there. And more turn 1 incidents there, the third one in this lap already, as we focus on Gino Vandenbroek in 11th place right now, with Peter Newman ahead and Christoph Leister behind. But yeah, all sorts of action on turn 1, a lot to clear up after that. Cam started with a severely damaged car as well.
Yep, for sure. And he is going to, if he needs to pit for repairs or anything like that, he is going to have to pit again. There is not enough fuel in these tanks for these guys to get to the end of the race. So for sure, not what you want to happen, to have to pit at the end of lap 1, because unfortunately that means it's going to be a 2-stop race. So yeah, definitely not the way to start your season by getting into a turn 1 or a lap 1 incident. But we're on board with Michael Mittner at the moment, and he's currently running in 7th position. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap forming between 4th and 5th as the leaders are starting to break away, and it looks like Mittner's got Martinson just ahead of him and Phil Reed just ahead of him. So that is the group. That is the battle for 5th as we know it at the moment, and running very wide.
Very wide there, Fisi. Or there's also Fisi that's actually behind. I think that might have been Timu back there. They're getting very, very wide in the gravel a little bit there on the Rahal straight there, as you head through the corkscrew for the second time. And we've got another AOR driver in the gravel. It's Kerry, the race leader. Kerry Nolan, the race leader, off the track, down the rainy curve there towards the end of the lap there, and he's given the lead away there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's happened with him exactly, but he's definitely lost numerous positions, no doubt about that. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more information about that as we're on board, or we're watching Merculitz at the moment, starting lap 3 and coming into the Andretti hairpin here. And man, it's a lot of jockeying for position going on at the moment. Turn 1 hairpin, or the turn 2 hairpin, excuse me, is going to be an excellent location for overtaking. Expecting to see lots of action there, as we're currently watching the battle for 11th. And remember, there are points all the way down to 20th, so these are battle for points. As we're going to get a replay of the start of this race. Go ahead, talk us through this, Dre.
Yeah, Patrick Y got a pretty poor launch there in the film, but it was Kerry that held on to the lead, took the defensive line into turn 1. A little bit of contact in the midfield there, but nothing too serious there initially. But here's a replay of Cam, who seemed to just lose control of the car and has completely flipped it over, and he smashed into Harley Lewis there. Very unfortunate for Harley there. Not much he could have done about that one at all there. You see Cam's just lost control of the car and is just smashed into the side pod of Harley, and next thing you know, he's upside down. He's had a full barrel roll there, and Harley, unfortunately, has been collected as a result of that incident there. Very unfortunate. We go to Harley's camera now. Like he has no idea what's coming. You can't see any of Cam's car at all. And next thing you know, he's into the wall. Very unfortunate there.
And it does appear that he retired as well after that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and here's the collision now. That was between Peter Newman and Patrick White, who collided there. Through turn 4. I don't know what's quite going on. I think it looks like number 58, Peter Newman's gone for a little bit of an audacious attack there. And he's just had contact, and he's lost numerous places as a result of that incident there.
Yeah, certainly not a typical passing location, as we're seeing a replay of the incident between Evans and Saltamakia, and that's another unfortunate one. Of course, a lot of these guys, yeah, we could see just drove straight into the back of him there, and that sent him into a spin. Very unfortunate for Evans, certainly. He was just kind of a passenger in that one.
Yeah, Saltamakia there just seemed to misjudge the move on that one, and I think he was trying to pull back into line there at the last minute, and I think he just left it a little bit too late. That refusal to commit probably cost him dearly there.
Yep, and we're on board now with Mittner, who is running just behind Martinson. This is the battle for 6th currently, and I mentioned the gap between 4th and 5th before, and now there is a gap definitely developing between 5th and 6th. And we're seeing, oh no, and that's one of the AOR, that's one of the team AOR cars pulling off, and that is Kerry Nolden pulling off on the side of the track, moving very slowly as well. After losing the lead of this race, he seems to be having some terrible luck.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a mechanical incident. Was there some kind of contact we haven't seen on camera yet. I'm not entirely sure. There's a team radio call here, by the way.
Switched off. I don't know if I was fiddling about with a button on the wheel and just switched it off. That was weird.
Well, it sounds like a problem with his wheel there. Very unfortunate for the pole sitter who started off his season in the best possible way, getting that bonus point. There is a bonus point for taking pole position in this series, so he took that bonus point, but now it's looking like that might be his only point of the day, which is very unfortunate, as it looks like Martinson coming under attack from Mittner as they're heading into the corkscrew up the hill, under braking now for the corkscrew, and it looks like we're going to switch back now to the cars running just a little bit further behind. No, we're back with this battle. They're running very close. Not really any more passing locations in the rest of the lap, except for the final corner, turn 11. We'll see if Mittner can get a nice run out of turn 10 here and possibly get a run on Martinson. No, he cannot, and he's going to have to slot back behind. And he's got a car just behind him. I do believe that is Patrick White. Yep, that is Patrick White running in 8th place at the moment, just a couple places behind Martinson, and it's looking like he's going to get a run. Mittner is having to defend the inside line. He does the switchback, sneaks up the inside line. There's been contact between them, and that's very unfortunate because that was a really nice move how he faked going to the outside, came back on the inside. Looked like he was going to take that move. Very impressive stuff there.
It reminded me a lot of Daniel Ricciardo in Formula 1 this season at Monza, where he basically sold the dummy on Sebastian Vettel, and instead of going the outside, he's gone around the inside instead, as we get a replay of the lap 2 incident now between Timu Valkaravi, who's gone wide there, and that's what we saw on replay for lap 2, just going too wide up the Rahal straight there and losing out, and he's come back on, and he's lost control of the car through the corkscrew there. And he's kind of parked it there. He's got to reverse it onto track. So that's a very dangerous thing to do there. Not recommended reversing back onto the track there. I know you've not got much of a choice, but on lap 2, you know, it's still a lot of traffic on track. He's reversed into the back of Peter Newman's car there, number 58, and that's very unfortunate for Peter there. So he's got nothing he can do about that there. He's just turned through the corkscrew, and then he's greeted by Timu's rear wing. Now that's very unfortunate there, and I think a little bit misguided from Timu. I mean, surely you know it's lap 2 of a race, and you can't just reverse onto track. It's a very dangerous situation. Then look at that, Peter Newman's car fully airborne coming down the corkscrew. That's a spectacular replay angle, but very unfortunate for Peter to have to take that hit there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic slow motion shot there. Great stuff. Really enjoyed that. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. Just reversed right into his side pod, sent him airborne. And that was pretty much the end of that incident. So I believe we're on lap 6 now, and we're on board with Peter White, and just keeping an eye on sort of this midfield, not so much up at the front. We've got
orange car. That's number 9. That's Chris Fraser in 22nd place. His car looks a bit rough. It's like he's taking a hit somewhere or taking some damage. Going by the left-hand side pod, he's pulling off the track here. I think his race is over.
Yeah, pulls off at the outside of turn 10 here, but now he's got it going again. I'm wondering if he's had a change of heart here. He's definitely letting people by for sure. He's just kind of staying off the track and letting everyone through. And I'd imagine that he is going to be coming into the pits for a stop. Unfortunately, I don't think we're far enough in. We're not really in that pit window yet, so I do think he's going to have to make a second stop for fuel in order to get to the end of the race. But certainly, that's very unfortunate for Team YI Race. Back on board with this battle for 6 between Mittner and White. And White having a little bit of a look in turn 3 there. Really not a passing location there at all, but really. Maybe just playing some psychological games, just letting him know he's there, showing him that front wing in his rear view mirror, putting some pressure on him, and hopefully he can move himself up a position just purely by applying pressure very liberally.
Yeah, I mean, intentionally. Good to see that both cars seem to be okay, because they did have minor contact a couple of laps ago where Patrick tried the switch back into turn 2 there. Luckily, both cars seem to be okay. They don't seem to be losing out too much in terms of time, so very fortunate on both cars' part there, and I'm glad to see them both going out there and still racing wheel to wheel essentially at the moment. And it's kind of worth keeping an eye on the Ferrari behind as well, in the Ferrari livery as well, so they're definitely in range as well.
Yeah, for sure, and it looks like that's the other YI race member. I believe that's George Wiseman possibly behind the Ferrari car. And yeah, I can't tell 100%, but I'm pretty sure. So coming down now into turn 2, into the hairpin. White still behind Mittner. Mittner, I did notice, has a little bit of damage to his front wing. It shouldn't be. It looks to be localized on the left side of the front wing, so it shouldn't be too bad. Obviously, it doesn't seem to be affecting his pace too much, as he is keeping White behind so far. But surely, it's making his job that much harder.
Yeah, of course, it's obviously it's never ideal to have a damaged front wing, but he's doing a solid job of keeping a very slightly aggressive Patrick White behind there. He's doing a good job back there. As we cut to a replay now on track, I'm not sure what we're looking at here yet. Oh, yeah, I think that's his. Is that Mittner's car, Area 87? Yes, it is indeed. That is Mittner and Patrick White there as we get an apex. I'm not entirely sure what corner that is, but yeah, nice shot there again on the replay as we go now on board with Patrick White, currently in 7th place, still all over the back of Mittner's rear wing as we come round to start lap number 9 in a minute. A little wheel on the gravel there for Mittner, but then nothing really affected there. But he seems to have gotten a good run here out of the final corner, so maybe he can use that slipstream down through turn 1 and towards the hairpin for turn 2 this time around. It might be difficult to defend here. He's got a good run. You can see the slipstream kicking in now through turn 1. He's going to take the long way around into turn 2. Mittner's got to get defensive, but that's a damaged AOR car. That might be, yeah, it is indeed Martinson there from 4th place, who seemed to have maybe lost control of his car somewhere, and he's in the middle of a sandwich now, and he's trying to hold off Patrick White there, and he's slotted himself now right in the middle of the Mittner and White battle. And so yeah, essentially it's now a battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th between Martinson and White, and Martinson's gone a little bit wide here through turn 5. They're going wheel to wheel here between Martinson and White towards the Rahal straight now, and turn 6, and White's gone down the inside, and he's made the move stick. That's a lovely move there from Patrick White.
Absolutely beautiful move at turn 6 there. Great driving from Martinson as well. Very respectful, very clean driving. And he loses another position, though, in the corkscrew. He's losing positions hand over fist. He went from 4th down to 6th, down to 7th. And I think he might even be running in 8th now. And that is confirmation. That is Merkulitz that is behind him in the Ferrari. And then we got Baxter behind him, who's dropping off a little bit of the Ferrari of Merkulitz at the moment. So we kind of got this 5-way battle going on between from Merkulitz all the way up to Mittner, yeah. So, yeah, pretty serious battle going on here. Obviously, the German Mittner, he's going to be very happy about being able to pull a little bit of a gap. Fisi slotting in there has really helped his chances here. Is going to give him a good opportunity to try and break away from this pack.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, obviously the Martinson. We haven't seen the full replay, whether it was a spin or whether there was some kind of incident we haven't seen yet. But it certainly seems to have shaken the pack up a little bit there. It's caused a little bit of distance here and there. And now Martinson's got to defend quite carefully, as well as be wary of what's going on ahead of him as well. He's in quite a difficult sandwich situation here.
Yep, not an easy position to be in, certainly. And Martinson doing his best, hanging on to his current position, doing what he can to try and defend from Merkulitz behind, going through the corkscrew and nicely through. He doesn't, from what I can tell, he doesn't seem to have any major damage, but with these cars, even the slightest suspension damage can cause you to lose precious tenths per lap. So it's possible that Martinson has received some sort of mechanical damage as he runs very wide and nearly off the track through the final corner there, probably getting a little bit of a warning there for going off. And there is a definite gap forming between Martinson and 7th up ahead. And you can see Merkulitz here is definitely looking for a way around Martinson so he can try and keep up with that pack up ahead.
Yeah, he is indeed. I think he knows that Martinson has been probably a little bit affected by that crash. He's probably lost a little bit of momentum, a little bit of rhythm from making that mistake, and the time to strike would ideally be now, especially considering we are closing up very quickly on the fuel window. You may not know this, but there's a mandatory pit stop in this series, in this 40-lap race. These tanks, as Justin mentioned earlier, cannot go the full race distance. They can only go for, I'd say, roughly 27 or so laps, as Martinson takes a little bit of gravel there on the exit of the Rahal straight there, but looks he's okay. But roughly, expect cars to be coming in around lap 13, 14 to make their mandatory stop to be able to finish the race.
Yep, I think that's really when we're going to see the start of the window. It's a wonderful fuel strategy that they've set up for this league. It really keeps things spiced up. It's just the one pit stop that you have to make, but drivers have the opportunity to run a very low fuel first stint, try and give themselves an edge over the rest of the field, or they can run long and try and get themselves some clean air once everybody else has come into the pit. So there's a number of different strategies that we're going to be seeing in this race, and it's going to be really interesting to see how those play out for the different drivers. I'm sure some are just going to be trying to stick to a 20-20 sort of strategy, 20 laps on the first stint, 20 laps on the second stint, and it's going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Again, very, very nicely balanced fuel rules. Again, it's a little bit, again, making an old school F1 reference here, a little bit of the refueling days where you'd have a difference of pace, and you'd see how different things would play out as we get another onboard shot from the guardrail. I think that's Patrick White again there coming through on the replay cam there. But yes, it's definitely a bit of a refueling reference there, and the differences of pace will certainly make things a little bit more intriguing, because we know it'll add a couple of question marks about pace as we move on board with George Wiseman in 11th place right now as he goes through the corkscrew, with Gino van den Broek right ahead there as well. So there's a freeway battle emerging now for 10th position. As we come around to, I think, the start lap, I think on lap 12 now, I think, roughly, as we come towards that first that pit window like we mentioned earlier. So we expect to see some of the cars start to move into the pits very shortly. I would say in the next handful of laps, we'll be seeing the field shaken up a little bit.
Yep, for sure, and that's another part of pitting early. If you go for a low fuel stint, you're going to slot back into traffic, and that's going to play a big role for sure at the front of this race about who's going to get the podium positions, who's going to get the win. If people slot back in and they end up behind a bunch of slower cars who are also on older tires as well, that can certainly throw a spoke in the gear of several of the front runners if they're not careful about that. Now, tires is one thing that we haven't really touched on just yet. Some people are probably going to be taking tires, others will not. The tires will hold up for the full 40-lap race. Of course, it is faster to run the fresher tires, but of course you lose massive amounts of time in the pits. So that's going to be another part of the strategy as to whether or not people are actually taking tires.
Indeed, yeah, and again, just like real life Formula 1 as well, tire management now a big factor in this as well. Yeah, the tires will make the distance, no problem, but it's going to be the difference in pace towards the end, not only with fuel, but also now with tires in that mid to late stage of the race, where it could easily have an effect on the standings, where faster cars on fresher rubber will definitely, be coming through the field later on. So, it comes a question of whether you want to take that gamble, in the pits, take the extra time to change your tires, but, can you make up the difference on track with the fresher rubber as opposed to guys going in there for the long haul?
Yep, absolutely. As we're having a look at Martinson now, I believe it said he was running in 9th at the moment. Yep, he is in fact running in 9th. He is defending from Van den Broek behind, and I got to think that he is experiencing some sort of damage or difficulties. I don't think it's purely psychological. Obviously, drivers, though, are almost instinctual animals. They see somebody suffering. They see someone maybe going a little slow, running a little weak, and they all just pounce immediately. And they see that weakness, and they know I can gain a position. So Van den Broek certainly would have seen Martinson dropping through the field up ahead, so he's got to feel pretty confident about his chances about taking that 9th place position.
Yeah, he's in a nice spot right there. I mean, yeah, Martinson isn't losing too much time. He's not a million miles away, but I think he's just about in that window where he's not going to be able to get a draft from 8th place ahead of him, and that kind of makes him very vulnerable to a Van den Broek attack here, which we might just witness right now on lap 15, as we actually have a side-by-side move further ahead as well, so we could be seeing some action here into turns 1 and 2 very, very shortly. Up ahead, I believe that's Mittner, I think that's Baxter there in 7th place, and Marculet's in 8th, as Martinson is able to defend from Van den Broek there through turn 2. But yeah, great side-by-side race in there.
Actually, that appears to be Bowen. I'm not sure if he's on the lead lap. Yeah, that does appear to be Glenn Bowen running just ahead of Martinson. So, no, that's okay. It's a similar livery. So, I mean, I'm not sure if he's running a lap down or if he somehow snuck into 8th place, but I think he might possibly be running a lap down. So he might be getting a blue flag. I think we'll find out on the run up the hill here. If he is getting any sort of blue flag, this is going to be where he's going to let them by, I'd imagine.
Yep, he is indeed. Yep, he's indeed a back marker being lapped. Blue flags in this league are not mandatory; they're just advisory in this league and in the context of iRacing. But obviously, for the sake of good sportsmanship, it would be probably the right thing to do, just to let these faster cars come through now, because it seems to be hurting Martinson, because Vandenbroek is now literally right on his bumper here as you go through the final corner, and that's not an ideal place to let the field through. Very tight to the apex on the final corner there. That's not ideal at all there.
But no contact, so everybody was able to navigate their way around him. So great job by all involved. And Martinson, I'm sure, will be very thrilled to be hanging on to that position. I'm sure when he was coming up on that back marker, he was very concerned about losing his 9th place position, but he has hung on to it for now. I think this is all about damage limitation at this point, because as you mentioned, he's really losing touch with the cars up ahead, and I don't see him moving up in the race at this point. At this point, I think the best that he could do is try and hold off during his pit stop. He can try an earlier pit stop, of course. He might be fueled for a long first stint, but as we get into that pit stop window, he does have the option of coming into the pits, getting that fuel, and going ahead and getting that repairs done if he does need repairs, in fact. And it does look like he is kind of coming under attack at this corkscrew, but no, he's able to hold him off.
Yeah, Vandenbroek there all over. Also was a car off the road there. Looks like maybe missing a front wing as well. Not sure what that was there. You might see that a little bit later on. But yeah, Vandenbroek's got to be a little bit careful not to take one risk too many here, because he has Wiseman right behind him as well. He's got to be aware of that and the chasing pack behind him, as well as obviously trying to make a move on Martinson. He looks like he has the measure, he just can't find a way around yet. He's trying again now through turn 1 and 2, so towards the hairpin again. He's much closer to the back of Martinson's car, but he still can't find a way around yet. Martinson with some good defensive drive in there, doing just enough to keep Vandenbroek behind.
Yeah, fantastic racing, and it looks like they are coming up on another back marker as well. It looks like that is Evans, who had his struggles at the beginning of the race. I believe he was the one that got clipped. So yeah, or no, he got ran into at this corner we're coming up to, actually at turn 6, and he does actually pull right off the track and let everybody through. So he's not looking to bother the front runners. He's going to go ahead and just pull to the side and let everybody through. So there's a bit of dust being thrown up as they come up the hill. Not sure exactly what happened there. But yeah, we're still watching this battle for 9th. Wiseman running in 11th at the moment, and he doesn't seem to really be attacking. We're talking mainly about this battle for 9th up ahead, but he is very close behind and certainly looking very competitive. As of course I say that, now it looks like he is maybe thinking about making an overtake here as we finish the lap through the final corner. And I wonder if maybe that's exactly the kind of good luck that Martinson needs, is for Wiseman to get involved.
Yeah, it will certainly help ease some of that pressure up front. Wiseman's looking a little bit chancy as well, because Vandenbroek there made a bit of a mistake towards towards the final corner there on that previous lap, and it did open the door just a little bit there. But the draft that both drivers will be getting ahead will make it very difficult for him to be able to pass unless there is some kind of mistake further on, as we get an awesome side-by-side replay through the corkscrew here of Martinson defending and Vandenbroek there for Avid Chrome Racing there in 2nd place. And Wiseman there as well, just in the background, coming down the corkscrew. Very, very close stuff under braking. Vandenbroek was having half a look into the corkscrew on that lap. Wasn't quite able to get the move done there, but yeah, awesome shot through the corkscrew there. So we come towards it again now. On lap 18, I think we're on now. And yeah, as you can see, Martinson once again being able to, doing just enough to keep Vandenbroek at bay at the moment.
And interestingly enough, I think Martinson's teammate, Nolden, I believe he's not far behind. I don't know if he's a lap down. I'm not sure of his exact situation at the moment, but he's not too far behind. So whatever problems Nolden was having at the beginning of the race do seem to be sorted out. He is still running in this race, albeit certainly not in the first place starting position that he began the race in.
He's in P20 right now, by the way, Justin. Yep.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and venture a guess that he is a lap down. So that is the final points-paying position, though. As I mentioned earlier, the top 20 do score points in these races. So that certainly would be a couple of points that he would be happy to pick up after the problems he's been having. And certainly some much-needed points for the team as well, as he is part of that AOR team with Martinson. So he's doing the best that he can. It's really unfortunate for Team AOR as both their drivers here seem to be, and I'm not sure what's going on with Lukens at the moment. Oh, he's running in 12th. So, but for Team AOR, it really seems to be about damage limitation at the moment. Really unfortunate for these guys who looked like they were going to be some serious race win contenders.
Yeah, Kerry had electric pace in qualifying now, clearly on pole position by a good quarter of a second on the rest of the field there. So he was going to have to chip. Oh, that's a bit of lag, and that's Vandenbroek there into the wall and out of the race. I'm not sure what happened there. He's out there from P10, and all of a sudden it looks like Fisi's car, Martin's car, has just disappeared. And the next thing you know, Vandenbroek's in the wall and out.
Yeah, out of this race entirely. I mean, and he hit that barrier at a pretty good rate of knots. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to even limp back. As we see the replay, you can see the car is actually lifted off. He couldn't reverse if he wanted to. The rear wheels aren't even touching the ground anymore.
It's like a dart. A Team Rito with Vandenbroek here.
Screen froze. No control. Damn it.
Yeah, obviously very disappointed about that is Vandenbroek, as he was just a passenger at that point. Nothing he could do to try and save that car. You could see he's on the brakes, but brakes don't mean very much when you're lifted up in the air, and you can see the severe damage to the front end there. Even if he could get a tow back to the pit lane, he would lose significant positions, as we're going to see another replay here of just how much air he caught. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how much flying we're seeing in this race. Very difficult track is Laguna Seca. Very unforgiving, very technical. Lots of altitude changes as well. So certainly not an easy track whatsoever. And that's exactly what we're seeing here today. We're seeing the track fight back.
Indeed, yeah. It was like watching a dart flying towards a dartboard there for a minute, seeing Vandenbroek's car fly towards the wall. I've never seen that happen before, really, in any form of motorsport, where like just a little bump like that has caused Vandenbroek's car just to go completely flying, and it literally sticks it in the wall. Spectacular incident there. Obviously, Gino very disappointed with that, as he most likely should be after an unfortunate incident like that. As we keep an eye now on Mittner in the battle for 6th place. A small bit of lag there, but I think it's the battle for 5th there. I think, Justin.
Yeah, I believe that is the battle for 5th at this point, with everything going on. So yeah, we're having a look at Wiseman at the moment, who is having a much better race than his teammate Fraser did, and he's still running in the top 10 at the moment. And Mittner here has had a pretty exciting race, but thankfully for him, it hasn't involved any sort of contact. He still has that wing damage, of course, but for a lot of people, the excitement in this race has come from contact with other cars or contact with the barrier. Whereas Mittner's had a relatively clean race and had some nice battles with some of the people in the league here.
Yeah, what we've seen, I think most of the time, what we've seen is some pretty solid defensive driving all in, and we've seen for the most part, some pretty safe passing attempts, and there's been little in terms of contact besides the first 2 laps, which is always you always have an increased risk of an incident or two on the opening couple of laps. Everybody's bunched together. That's a slowing. I think that might be Mittner putting a lap on somebody else there as we come through turn 5 here, but. Yeah, overall he's got Baxter right behind him there as we cut to him now on the onboard. It looks like a little bit of lag here and there with Mittner's car, but nothing too drastic. I wonder if that lag was part of the reason why Vandenbroek had that incident earlier. But yeah, overall, we've had some very solid defensive driving. I mean, despite Laguna Seca being quite an open track, it seems to be quite difficult to be able to pass around here, even with a draft.
Yeah, for sure. It has not proven to be very easy to get around a car here. You really need to have a pretty serious pace advantage over somebody. The tow or the slipstream, not necessarily as strong as you might have expected. And I do apologize. I did say that this was Wiseman, and this is Baxter. That's on the back of Mittner, running in 6th place at the moment. I do apologize to everybody about that. But we're coming into the Andretti corner. He's pretty far back. Not really going to be able to have a look this time. Really hugging that inside line. Turn 2 here at Laguna Seca is one of those corners that has 100 different racing lines that you can take through it, and you're not going to see a huge difference between them, but obviously Baxter opting for the very tight inside line through that hairpin, the Andretti hairpin there, and he's still running very close to Mittner, but it's really not looking like he's even had an opportunity to go alongside.
Yeah, not indeed. Yeah, as you were saying about turn 2, it's definitely the kind of corner where you can run wide a little bit. As Daniel Evans, I think, just got overtaken there, I believe, by one of the AOR cars. Is that Kerry by any chance? I think that might have been, considering where he was relative to the field there. I think he was in 20th place a few laps ago. But yeah, like,
I believe you're right.
Yeah, I think so. I think turn 2 is definitely the kind of corner where it's kind of like a double apex on that hairpin. You can afford to run a little bit wide through that corner and not lose particularly too much time, because you can cut back in towards the corner on the exit. So there is definitely a range of lines you can take through there and still be able to make it work. Obviously, driver preference comes into it, but yeah, overall, there's definitely multiple ways to get around that corner. That probably is the best spot for passing on this track, but we haven't actually seen too many passes into turn 2 as of yet.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it? For sure. It's what you would expect to be the number 1 passing location, and as you mentioned, really haven't seen too much action there. It's surprisingly enough been at just about every other corner that we've seen all the overtakes happening. But we're on board with Evans now, who already lost a position, and it looks like he might be coming under attack from Bowen for yet another position, and he's still got damage to his car as well. And I got to imagine that we're going to be seeing some of these guys coming into the pits. The pit window is open as we're taking a look at the leader. Nukkarainen is lapping somebody at the moment. I do believe that was Van Rampui. And they're going into turn 2 now. So he seems to be having a very comfortable race at the moment in the lead. Not too much going on for him. It really seems like all he's up to at the moment is just navigating his way around the back markers. As we're seeing this battle now for a 2nd place in the race, and this is a little bit more interesting than what's been going on for 1st place, as they're going into turn 3 now. This is a little. Oh, there's actually some damage there. I believe on Housen there. And I wonder if that's going to be affecting him at all, and I wonder if he's going to be coming under attack and possibly having to defend that 2nd place position.
Not a good time to be getting that, because we're on lap 25. We've not seen any of the leaders pit yet, so they're going to be on the fumes when it comes to fuel very, very shortly. So you don't want to do. The last thing you want to be doing right now is losing any more time to the race leader, given you're going to be in the pits in the next couple of laps or so. We reckon. I think we think the fuel tanks are good for about 70% race distance. So lap 27, 28, you would think most of the fuel would be coming in roughly. So yes, it's a situation where we're not quite sure how Housen got the damage on his car. I don't think we saw that initially. As the pit lane cameras, we cut to that now, as cars are going to be starting to come in for their fuel and possibly new tyres as well. But definitely an intriguing battle for 2nd going on.
Yeah, for sure. Housen has got a pretty difficult job ahead of him. He's going to have to defend that position with all his heart. And, of course, the pit stops are going to play a role in that as well. If he has a bad pit stop, or if he pits a lap later, certainly that could cause him to lose the position as well to Di Meno. So he could be losing it on the track. He could lose it in the pit lane. There's a number of possible scenarios that we could be seeing here. At the moment, though, we're still taking a look at Mittner, who's still got Baxter just behind him. These two guys have been going for quite a number of laps at this point. One thing that I did want to mention that I forgot to mention earlier, there's another benefit to doing a long first stint in that you don't have to spend as much time fueling. Of course, every liter that you put into the car takes more time on your pit stop. So the longer you go on your first stint, the shorter your pit stop is going to be. As we see, I believe that's an AOR car, one of the AOR team cars coming out of the pit lane right now. I'm not sure who that is. It looks like he's going to be slotting in just behind White, or possibly behind the car that's behind White. We can't quite get a shot. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. And I'm not sure who that is behind.
One of the nuclear racing cars.
But that's Nukkarainen. That's Nukkarainen right there at the moment in the yellow car. But I'm not sure who it is behind him in the AOR car. But clearly, drivers are starting to come in for their pit stops.
Yep, and you saw Patrick White try a move there as well. Didn't quite make it stick, but you're all right. That is indeed Jonas Nukkarainen, the race leader who has done his first stop. And is he a lap ahead of these guys to be able to come out of the pits and essentially only be a handful of car lengths behind them? I wonder, is his pace that fast? I mean, that would be terrifying if that's the case.
That would be. That would be pretty terrifying for the drivers if that was in fact the case. I'm not sure if he is lapping White or if this is for position, but either way, I'm sure he's going to want to get around him as quickly as he can. He's certainly not looking to spend all day behind him, as we're going to see a replay here of Nolden going through turn 10. I'm sorry, that's turn 9, that's Rainy Curve, and it looks like he went very wide at the exit, got it in the dirt and the gravel, gone very wide. Certainly not what you want to be doing. This is a great way to damage your front wing, is by going over all these bumps and everything. And we're also going to see a replay of another AOR driver, Martinson, as well, having some serious struggles at Andretti at the entrance, getting oversteer at the entrance to the Andretti hairpin. And you could see the kind of double apex in that slow-mo, the double apex that you were talking about there, as the curb kind of, you get that curbing at the entrance of it, and then it kind of disappears, and then it comes back again. You really kind of see that double apex. It's almost like two left-hand corners rather than just one left-hand corner. And there goes Nukkarainen. He just flies right by him, and there's a car at the inside of the corkscrew there, just stopped and facing the barrier. So I'm not sure exactly who that was or what the circumstances were, but I'm sure Nukkarainen is going to be very happy as he nearly goes off the course. He's going to be very happy to avoid any sort of collision through the corkscrew.
Yeah, we almost had another situation with Timu there earlier where he reversed onto the track and collected another driver there. Luckily, we didn't have another repeat of that situation from earlier. But, Jonas there starting to make his way through the traffic here. And it looks like he's going to try and make a move here on the Ferrari livery of number 22, the number 22
Merculets.
car there of Merculets, and he's got the move done there. I mean, this is just showing the clear pace difference that Jonas has on the rest of the field here. I mean, where we've seen other similarly paced cars struggle to be able to make past his stick, Jonas has been coming through like a rocket very, very quickly on these midfield runners as it stands.
Yeah, beautiful to see though. Really great racing from Jonas. Just fantastic stuff. It's great to see at least him getting by the back markers. If we don't get to see him battling for the lead, but obviously before we were wondering a little bit whether he was on the lead lap or if he had pit into traffic. And no, he is in fact on the lead lap. He is he's still in first place. He never lost the lead from what we can tell. And in fact, he has lapped all but 8th place and up. So anybody below 8th place has already been lapped by Jonas in a fairly dominant display.
Yeah, that's incredible speed. Yeah, apparently Jonas has not actually stopped yet, or as he starts at 29 of 40. So his car must be on dregs of fuel right now, literally like liters left. Only a handful of liters left in that car because he cut to the pit lane cam side by side. I think that's the second of the nuclear racing cars. And Demelo there from second and third, both going into the pits together. Back to nose to tail there, essentially into the pits. But yeah, Jonas' pace has been absolutely frightening there. As we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, Eunice. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. Of course, we did just learn that he has not pit yet. So there's at least that little bit of make the drivers feel a little bit better knowing that he hasn't pit yet. But of course, that's not going to mean a whole lot. Maybe 30 seconds for a pit stop, 40 seconds for a pit stop. I mean, he could take all 4 tires. He could replace all 4 tires and probably still come out in the lead of this race with incredible grip.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, if you're in the leading position and you have that kind of luxury to have that kind of gap, as I think he's into the pits right now, race leader, that is indeed the race leader. That's Jonas Nukkarainen, the race leader, into the pits. If you have that kind of luxury and have that kind of space ahead of you, why not change tyres and make it absolutely safe? And not risk losing your lead or any time on track afterwards by pitting for a fresh pair of rubber.
Yep. And we're taking a look right now at Phil Reed, number 44. He's already stopped. He's made his stop. He's running just behind Van Rompuy, who in that beautiful Lotus livery, who I don't believe has stopped yet, as his car still has some visible damage to it. So I'm wondering if he's actually made his stop. But they're coming through turn 6, climbing up the hill now towards the corkscrew, and it looks like they're going to be going side by side. And Van Rompuy just lets him through, and he just slices through right through the corkscrew. Very nice move there.
Yeah, he wanted none of that. going into the corkscrew there. Round the outside of the corkscrew is kind of an ambitious pass in the sense of you have to have the speed to go around the outside and be able to take the apex through the second part of the corkscrew. It's a very risky maneuver, so to speak, but he's managed to make it work there. I think Van Rompuy there didn't really want to contest that one too badly, given that Reed has just come out of the pits with new fuel and maybe new rubber as well. We're not entirely sure on that one, but great move there from Reed.
Yep, and we're moving back on board now with Martinson, currently running in 8th position. And it's been a little while since we've seen Martinson having any battles, so it looks like his race has kind of stabilized a little bit, and not as much action certainly as he was seeing earlier in the race. But not too much left to go in this race. At the moment, I believe we're approaching the 3/4 mark of this race, of this 40-lap race. And certainly this is going to be a nice points haul, though, for Martinson, who hasn't had the easiest of races. Yet we're actually past the 75% point of this race. So hopefully, for his sake, Martinson can hang on to this 8th place position. I do believe we did cut to, I think that was Patrick White that was running just behind him. I think we're going to find out very momentarily here. But yeah, Martinson, I'm sure he's got to be wondering what if he would have been higher up the order, but at the moment he's got Patrick White just behind, and he's going to try and hang on to that 8th place position.
And one other thing that's worth mentioning as well, we kind of missed off camera, De Meno has passed Housen for 2nd place through the pit stops. So a change in position for the 2 podium spots as we keep an eye on Martinson and Patrick White going head-to-head now for 8th place as we head towards turn 2 on lap 32 of 40. Here, but Martinson will definitely be wondering what could have been there. He was in a solid 4th place. He was in a great position there until that mistake we witnessed right there at turn 2, the Andretti hairpin there, where he just seemed to lose control over the curb and lost about 4 spots as a result of that. And he's been very, very close with Patrick White in terms of pace pretty much since that entire incident happened. So again, you're going to have to be wondering what could have been there. I think it could have easily been so much more for Martinson if it were not for that mistake.
Well, he might be able to redeem himself here, as it appears that he's really closing up on Weissman here, running in 7th position. I'm not sure if Weissman made some sort of mistake, or if Martinson and White just have that kind of pace that they've been catching up to him. Certainly, it's not as if they're trading slipstream or anything like that. So it's possible that Martinson finally got his car fixed at the end of that stint. And okay, it looks like he actually had to run defensive a little bit into that final corner to protect that inside line from White. And I'm sure he's going to be hoping that he can get past Weissman before White can get by him.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a freeway slugfest coming towards turn 2 now, and Martinson did take a very defensive line through the last corner. Seemed to get away with it on terms of a lack of an attack from Patrick White. But he's going for a move down here into turn 3. Martinson gives him the room, runs a little bit wide on the exit, but White has not quite got enough yet to come through. He tries again at turn 4, still not quite enough to be able to get enough of the front nose inside to be able to make the move. And Martinson very respectful in terms of giving room, which is good to see. But White seems to be getting aggressive here. He wants to get past ASAP here, and it's not quite happening for him. Martinson there doing just enough to stay ahead.
Yep, and unfortunately it is causing them to lose touch a little bit with Weissman up ahead, the battling between them. Oh no, as Martinson has gone very deep and he's cut the chicane, he's cut the corkscrew. That's going to give him a penalty, and he is forced to concede that position to White, who can now focus his attention on Weissman for 7th place. Hopefully, for his sake, he can move up a couple of positions in the later stages of this race.
Indeed, yeah. White on a late charge, it seems. He looked very, very gamey there to get past Martinson like that. Put on some moves that we haven't seen very much of at all in the race to date. And now that was a race that a move, I should say, that needed to be done on Martinson. And he'd be very happy he managed to get the forced error for Martinson to get that spot. And maybe now we'll see if he has the pace to try and get past Weissman next up.
Yep, I have a feeling that he does. I'm really hoping that in the closing laps of this race, we're going to see a nice battle between White and Weissman. It should be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. At the moment, though, of course, we're watching Housen, who is currently running in 3rd after losing his 2nd place position during the pit stop phase, and he is coming under attack from it's not Martinson, it's not
it's
Nolden.
Carey's car. It's Carey's.
It is Carey's car.
He's a lap down.
Oh,
he's
okay.
a lap down at the moment, so maybe he wants a little bit of pride to try and unlap himself here. Not quite sure what purpose that serves, but that is indeed Kerry Nolden's AOR car is a lap down, as we have a replay. I believe that's the race leader. That's Jonas Nukarainen there. I think he may have locked a wheel there a little bit there going into. I think that might be turn 10 downhill there. Maybe I'm not entirely sure on that one. But yeah,
sounds about right.
Yeah, it looks about right. Downhill, right-hander.
Yep. Process of elimination. I'm pretty sure that's the right corner. I think you were right about that. But yeah, beautiful shots, more beautiful shots of these cars going through this fantastic circuit. It's really nice getting the, most tracks tend to have grass on the side, so it is nice every so often to go to a track that's just got the dirt on the side, kind of that desert feel to it, almost like Bahrain or Abu Dhabi in the F1 circuits. It's a nice change of pace from seeing green all the time on the side of the track. But yeah, we're running on board. Actually, I'm not sure. Is this Nukarainen? I have a hard time telling between. This is Housen. Yeah.
This is the battle for 2nd right here.
Those darn yellow liveries are mixing me up. And now we're on board with Weissman, who is he still running ahead of White? That's the big question here.
I think he was there. It was a very short cut, to be fair. We're going back and forth between these two at the moment, trying to get as much of the action as we can. As we have 5 laps to go here in Laguna Seca, as the Mena now is furiously trying to defend from Housen, who made a small error on the corkscrew last time, but doesn't seem to have hurt his pace too much here. He's getting a nice run here towards turn 5. Might try an ambitious move around the outside. Doesn't quite got the speed to make it work, but he's going to be right in De Melo's toe again as we come towards the Rahal straight now. He's been forced out onto the outside of the track, tries another switch back, and now he's got a really good run. They're side by side up the hill now towards the corkscrew. Not sure if Housen's car is ahead yet, but he has the line for the corkscrew. He tries the inside line, hasn't got the piece to make it work, and they almost touch! They almost touch there, coming out of the corkscrew down to the rainy corner, now down the hill. But De Melo hangs on to 2nd place from Housen there. Some very, very close wheel-to-wheel racing there. And he might try again here into the last corner. Not quite enough in the car this time to find the way around, but some crazy wheel-to-wheel action there up the Rahal straight towards the corkscrew. So very surprised that Housen wasn't able to get the move done there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that if there was contact. I heard a little bit of a crash, so I'm not sure if there was any contact. Certainly, I don't see any visible damage on either of the cars, but I heard a little bit of a clunk there when they got really, really close to each other. So I'm not sure if either one of them is possibly having some sort of issue, but something tells me that Jordan Hawson is not having an issue, as he is still all over the back of him and really pressuring for that second place position in the closing stages of this race. Really not many laps left here, so he is getting a little bit aggressive. He's really looking for a way past, and of course he's got Nolden just behind him looking to unlap himself, which certainly isn't making his job any easier.
Yeah, Nolden wants a little bit of pride. I think he'll take a little bit of reassurance in the fact he's able to run with these two despite being a lap down. Obviously not the ideal situation, and Kerry himself's had a very, very unlucky race with the wheel incident we saw in the early stages of the Grand Prix here. But it must give him a little bit of pride knowing that he can run with these two in terms of pure pace. But it's a crazy battle up front right now. The Menno June just enough to hang on. Howland's looking very, very anxious to try and get a move done here and get that second position, so to try and make it a second place finish would be very, very good for him indeed here. But the Menno's doing a very nice job of keeping Howson behind.
And I do believe that this is lap 38 that we just started, so that would mean that there's 3 laps left. It does look like that Demano has pulled out a little bit of a gap. He's certainly farther away than he had been on previous laps. Really, the kind of first sector, that is where Hawson seemed to have a little bit of an advantage, as Nolden here getting a great tow down towards turn 5. But he's not going to have a look on this occasion. He's going to slot back in. I'm not sure if Nolden is going to actually, as you mentioned, the blue flags are not a requirement, but more of a recommendation. And I mean, certainly Howson not getting any blue flags to let Kerry through, but Kerry is allowed to unlap himself if the opportunity presents itself. But I'm not sure that's not going to make him any friends. So I'm not sure if he's going to be looking to do that with only now at the end of the lap, only 2 laps left in this race.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, again, it might just be a matter of pride for Kerry on this one more than anything else. Again, as mentioned, the blue flags are only a recommendation; they're not a rule. But of course, Kerry's well within his rights to unlap himself. Again, not the best thing for sportsmanship in this sense. He had half a look there into turn 2. He's got this great overboard shot here of the circuit. But sure, like I said, he has every right to unlap himself if you feel his race is being hindered by Howson's, as kind of irrelevant as it is, given his position and the fact he's a lap down. But if your race, if it's your race, and he's more than entitled to go for the unlap if he feels like that's the right thing to do.
Yep, for sure. And now we're back on board with the race leader. Nuka Rinnan is rounding out the lap here, going through the penultimate corner, going very wide there into the gravel, the dirt a little bit. Nothing too major. Something we've been seeing quite a bit. A lot of the fast guys actually using all of the track and then some. I guess no surprise there, the fastest guys, as Nuka Rinnan comes home for the win for the very first race ever of the AOR Pro Mazda Championship, and takes that win. He didn't get the Grand Slam, he didn't get the pole position. Of course, that went to Nolden, who does get the bonus point, though. But I do believe that Nuka Rinnan has put in the fastest lap of the race, and that's going to earn him an extra point, as Howson, unfortunately, he was not able to find a way around Demeno, and he is going to have to settle for the bottom step of the podium. But those are your podium finishers there. Nuka Rinnan comes home in first place with Demeno in second, followed by Howson in third place. Great battle for second at least, but it's really a shame that we were a bit robbed of that battle for the lead, possibly between Nuka Rinnan and Nolden.
It's a little bit unfortunate there. Obviously, Kerry just having a bit of a nightmare race in terms of what could have been with the wheel error that we saw early on, and that's a real shame because Kerry looked like he had some great race leading level kind of pace. As we get a last minute, maybe last corner scrap here between one of the Lotus drivers there, overall, it's a bit of a shame that we were robbed of a possible fight for the win. But Jonas showed incredible pace all throughout and a well-deserved inaugural AOR iRacing League victory.
Absolutely, yeah. He really stamped his authority on this race. Really showed everyone what he's got, and it's going to be up to the drivers next race to try and one up him as he completes the parade lap, and he's going to come into the pits, and I'm sure he's going to be very excited to start off his season in the best way possible. I mean, the only way it could have gotten any better is if he had actually got pole position as well. So here's the race results as they finished in the end. Nukarinen finishes in first place with the fastest lap of the race with a 1:16.955, 15 seconds ahead of Domeno and Housen, who finished in second and third to complete the podium. Craig Baxter in fourth, followed by Mittner in fifth, again, who had a very exciting race, but really just hung on to his positions and managed to keep it out of the wall. Martinson, in the end, only finished in 11th, in fact, just ahead of his teammate Nolden. Very unfortunate race for the AOR boys. I'm sure they're going to be looking to improve on that in the future. Merkulitz, in the end, he finished way down. He was in that battle in the top 10 for a while, and he finished a ways down. Of course, Vandenbroek DNF'd after he darted himself into the tire barrier because of his issues. Very unfortunate. Cam Stark, Fraser, Saltalamacchia, and Lewis as well, all failing to finish the race, and they did not complete 90%. Got to complete at least 36 laps here. And Andre, why don't you take us through the points?
Yeah, Nukarinen going to get 30 points for a race win in this league. Plus, he gets the bonus point for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Remember, there's a bonus points handed out for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix and a pole position. He takes a 6-point championship lead over Domenico Domeno with 25 points. The AOR boys, as we mentioned there, unfortunately not the best of days. Martinson there in 11th place with 10 points. Of Kerry, who works, got the bonus point there as well for the pole position, so he has the same number of points with 10.
So it's going to be a pretty interesting season for sure. That much is obvious. I mean, I think we knew it was going to be an exciting season after the first lap. But great race here. Obviously, there was some incidents. That's bound to happen, especially for the first ever race of a league. Drivers really sizing each other up, getting a feel for one another, seeing how fast each other is, how aggressive each other is. But for a first race of a season, I think things went extremely well. In the team championship, though, AOR does take the lead with 32 points, with Nolden, Martinson, and Lukens ahead of Nuclear Racing, who unfortunately only had one driver in the race today, and that was Nukarinen. But because of his win plus the fastest lap, he has moved his team into second place, only 1 point behind AOR. In the Independence Championship, Domeno takes the lead with 25 points ahead of Hausen, who gets 22. Mittner in third with 17 points. This is the championship for people who aren't in a team, and they can kind of have their own sort of team battle. So that's the way that's shaping up. So next race is going to be at Suzuka. It's going to be 30 laps. Very difficult track. Very exciting track, though. It should be a lot of fun. Of course, the S is in the first sector. Numerous passing locations. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know about you, Dre.
Oh, I'm very excited. Suzuka's one of the finest tracks in world racing, and with more straights, more twisty bits as well, it's going to be a very, very fun track, and I'm looking forward to what should be a fantastic race.
Yep, absolutely. So for Andre and for myself, Justin, and of course for Crekkan and Fisi, that's going to do it for this very first ever episode. I thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time at Suzuka.